For this beautiful comedy series, already renewed for season 2, by the way, if you didn't hear. Right? The comedic family saga within a high-stakes crime thriller follows two deeply incapable siblings who are in over their heads when a misguided theft for the dying grandmother accidentally pulls them into the world of organized crime. Blackmailed into increasingly dangerous assignments, which you'll see in the following episodes, they clumsily fail upwards, sinking deeper into chaos they're ill-equipped to handle. The show recently earned 4 Gotham Award nominations, including nominations for the series, and it stars Dan Levy, Taylor Ortega, and Laurie Metcalf. And you guys, a lot of the cast and creative team are here tonight, so I'm going to start bringing them out. First up is the composer for all the great music you heard in the show, Nora Pearl Rosenbaum. And she plays Natalie. Please welcome Abby Quinn. We just saw him playing Yusuf, Boran Kuzum. He plays Max. Please welcome Jack Innanen. And you guys, Morgan is here. Please welcome Taylor Ortega. And he's the creator, showrunner, executive producer, and the star who plays Nicky, Dan Levy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and watching.
Where else would they be on a Saturday night?
Absolutely nowhere.
No. So they're fresh off seeing the first 2 episodes. So Dan, tell me, just creating the show, it has such a distinctive tone, and also it's a nice kind of mix of comedy, but then also this really high stakes thriller.
That's right.
Can you talk about creating that and the choices that you made to even create this world?
Yeah. So I was very preoccupied. My pants are too tight. Real tight, and I didn't think about sitting down. When Schitt's Creek ended, I really had a long period of time that I wanted to take off to think about, okay, well, what is the next thing that I wanted to tackle? Because making television is like, it's athletic and it requires a lot, and I felt like I really needed to sit and think about what would make me laugh, what was a story that felt like I wanted to tell it for many, many, many seasons, if possible. And I settled on crime, and somehow, naturally, I settled on crime because I thought I would not do well in a criminal situation, which means that would be funny for a character to be put in. And I also have like an irrational fear of being blackmailed into the mob. It happens. Don't you laugh. It could happen to you. It could happen to anyone, and it does. So I just naturally was like, well, that sounds terrifying. And also hysterically funny if someone were to blackmail me, because I would instantly be sort of murdered. So it felt like a funny world. And then I was developing the idea, I brought it to Rachel, who I thought like would have an equally as bizarre take on what it would be like to be blackmailed into crime. And it turned out she did. She was just as fucking freaky as I was. And the show really developed from there. And then we found this incredible cast. And it is so hard to make that look so easy. Performing crime and comedy within the same moment is such a skill that I cannot express the gratitude for the work that these people did. It is so impressive and so fun to watch. Anyway, what was your question?
You got most of it.
Okay, great. Well, that's great. Someone else can talk.
But I did want to add before the fact that this is a family, and Schitt's Creek was family, but also this is family, but is that just something you naturally gravitate towards?
No,
family?
I think in a perfect world, I have like 3 family stories in me. And someone thought that was funny. I guess it is. But yeah, this was like we call it like another family saga. And we're just getting started, and it's been so fun. And I love writing family dynamics. I think there's nothing funnier. I think how we are with our family members is so weird, and oftentimes like a version of ourselves that we don't want anyone else to see. And writing that personal behind the scenes stuff is so fun for me and so funny, and then throwing high stakes drama and crime into the mix of a family that can barely handle just everyday life is the dream. So it's a very different family story, but one that I think it's like different book, same shelf, and I know where it goes, and I feel very excited by it.
Awesome. Taylor, so Morgan has this unique, very high energy about her that we see from her first scene.
Did you say bi energy?
Yeah.
No, high energy.
I was like, okay, great.
High energy.
It's quiet, but it's there. It's bi energy. It's the t-shirts.
Can you talk about just getting a handle on this character and how you kind of found her to play her so well?
Yes. We are very similar, me and her. And I've been saying that the place that we see Morgan in this first season of the show, because she's been going through a hard time. She's been at her lowest, and she has a bit of a sour outlook. And I've been saying, like, that is kind of a past version of me. I think that I can access it. And then I had like one bad week recently, and I was like, she's there still. She lives within me still. We're more similar than you'd even know. So yeah, I think this is like the most close to type character I've ever read in my life. And I'm used to having to do a bit more character work, but I really think I understand her. I really do. I really, really do.
Okay. And Jack, Max, a little oblivious, but very endearing. You kind of have to love him. Can you talk about stepping into those shoes and working with Taylor and Elizabeth Perkins? You've got some really good scene partners there.
Yeah, no kidding. I think similar to Taylor in a way, there were parts that I told my mom about this role that it was kind of like a man-child, pathetic, and she was like, "Oh, you're gonna do great." very, very bad to me, actually. But I think that there's also parts of Max that were like, where he's like, it was hard to find that endearing part because all the scenes are just fighting with Morgan, and so I think that was like, that's kind of, is this guy sweet? But it is just, you have to think of it as a real, fully developed person, and I think realizing that a lot of his motivation was through maybe this divergence in his real, like they've been together for 17 years. How does that feel? This is someone that is like his anchor, but that's drifting away. How does that feel? So I tried to think about him through that. Like that's where the endearing aspects come from, is he really cares about this person, but maybe that ship has sailed, but he's really trying. And then, yeah, like Taylor was incredible to bounce off of, and Elizabeth is terrifying on screen. She's really scary. If you've only seen the first two, I don't think you've seen her yet, but she's really scary on screen, but very kind off screen. And it was a blast developing. Like those two, getting to be like whiny to her, and then I guess also whiny to Elizabeth. Yeah, I was kind of whiny, but like in a sweet way.
I do think that like we had a real journey finding the character of the actor to come in and play Max, because on the page you needed an actor to walk in with the kind of like inherent warmth and charm and sweetness that Jack has just as a person. And the fact that he cares so much is the reason why we like Max, even though he might not be right for her, but he cares. And what Jack brought into the room was a character that is over-therapized but cares so much.
Thank you. I think, yeah, he's misguided.
Absolutely.
He's really trying.
A little forgotten.
That's right.
Yeah, I gotta love that. Boran, you have this illustrious acting career in Turkey. This is your international TV debut. Here. What was your experience getting cast in the show? Because you are from Turkey, and so is the character. I don't know if that was planned or if that you guys tailored that to him, or
We did.
okay.
Yeah, okay, I got ready for my English. Sorry for it. So, I was in Istanbul and I was in a karaoke night, came back home drunk. Because of the time difference, I just received this email from my managers here saying that Dan Levy Untitled Project audition call. And I was like, is this Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek? And I was like, okay, I'm too drunk for this. I'm gonna, read it tomorrow. And then day after tomorrow, I read it again. And then I went to the Zoom audition, which I never did before. And then I got the part. I thought it was going to be like one episode role in the beginning, because I didn't think it was going to be like that. I don't know. And it's just, it's still, I'm trying to process it. It's like a dream come true moment for me. Like, coming from the other side of the world, I'm grateful of what I did back there for 10 years. But this was my dream come true moment, and I'm so glad that I'm sharing this moment with these amazing people. Really.
Did you come to like the neck tattoo? Because that's a very prominent part of the character. Did you like it?
Yeah, I have 0 tattoos. The funny thing is, like, I never had a tattoo because I hate going to set early. Because they're gonna cover them up. And now I went the earliest. Tattoos. Which was really cool. I always wanted to have tattoos though.
I have an image of Boran in the makeup chair very early in the morning with sunglasses on, just getting like snake tattoos and like skull tattoos all over his arms. Real badass. Turkish man.
I love them. I love the tattoos.
And for his birthday, everyone on set
Oh my
put
god.
a snake tattoo on their neck.
That was the best memory, really. That was so amazing.
Okay.
Full house audience out here, I love it.
Abby, so many of your scenes were with Laurie Metcalf, and I love the
Yes.
relationship between Natalie and Linda.
Thank you so
Can
much.
you talk about just shaping that relationship? I don't know if you and Laurie had time to really work on things, or if you just jumped into based on the script, or talk about that a little bit.
I think most of our time spent together not filming, we were talking about like reality TV and Dancing with the Stars and who we want to see on the next season, and drinking Diet Coke. And I think we were bonding as people, and she is one of the coolest, smartest people I've ever met. So it's very easy to get along with her, but I think that does impact the relationship on screen, but we didn't really talk about it in depth. It just was, I think, in the writing and in the characters that we had developed individually, and then whenever we came together, it was like we were on the same page, but it was unspoken, and it just worked very well together. Yeah.
And Laurie's not here tonight, but can we get a round of applause for Laurie?
Yeah, she's busy almost getting a Tony nomination.
She's locking it down. Nora, from the first episode, I was noticing the music, and I was like, okay, this is like another character in the show. That's exactly how I felt. Do you guys agree with that? Yeah. Can you talk about working with Peaches on the project and just shaping the music? Is
Yeah,
amazing.
Peaches.
Talk about
I wish, let's say,
I
a
know.
round of applause for Peaches.
Peaches is wearing a bodysuit with 9 breasts on it.
Yes.
Running through a crowd somewhere
Yes, she
in
is.
Germany.
And that's how we worked on the show.
Yeah.
We would wear our hanging titties, and we'd strap them on, full on. It was a total joy to work with Peaches. It was a total joy to work with Dan. I'm sorry that I wasn't there for the tattoos, but for season 2, we're gonna wear snake tattoos when we ride. Yeah, for sure. It was crazy. How was it to work with Peaches? It was crazy. It was amazing. This is this person that I've respected for so long, and then to have the opportunity to jam with her and make music with her and really get in the weeds with her in a way in the show was amazing. And figuring out like how can we bring Peach's sound, which was such a part of Dan's playlist when he was conceiving of this show, how can we like bring that to life and make the music really, like you said, a character in the show and not step on the comedy? And how can we do that and do the dance of the timing with all of you and not have all the music the same for everyone? You know, it's so funny because I look at all of you and we haven't spent time together, right? Because I'm like really in post-production. And I look at all of you and I'm like, oh, ticking, throbbing. Oh, I know what sound I do for, like, do you know what I mean? Like each one of you, yeah. Like we have like sounds associated with each one of you, so it's a little weird, yeah.
Tell me how much did you see the whole show before you even started, or were you already into the music before you even saw all the episodes?
We read a lot, and I think we saw like 3 maybe when we started 1. So we were a little bit ahead as we went.
It was an amazing experience, and I mean, again, Peaches was somebody who was on like early playlists for the show. For those of you that don't know Peaches, look her up, listen to her music. She's fantastic. But she has a whimsy and a sense of humor and a self-awareness to the music that she makes, even though she takes it very seriously. And I thought that sort of propulsive electronic sound that she has, but also the humor, felt like it could, if I could get her, it could really make this show stand out in ways that feel really great.
Yeah.
And then when she said yes, and we paired her with Nora, and the music started to come in, it was like this, again, when you make TV, you're dealing with like so many different pieces that have to come together in such a cohesive way, that any time someone does something that makes you feel like, oh, I don't have to worry about that. That's what the music was. The minute I got that first file of music cues, I knew that there was a score that I'd certainly never heard before in a comedy, that lived and breathed and really allowed for the humor to shine through, while at the same time creating a kind of really propulsive energy. I sort of, in the early days, talked to them and I said, I want the sound to feel like a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So watch the show.
You sculpted that. I mean, Dan, sorry, kudos to you for saying, like, play in the sandbox. You kept saying, try stuff. Throw stuff out there. We threw all these door slams on Taylor. Every time when you leave a classroom, you hear all these door slams in the music, all these crazy things. We were trying all kinds of stuff. You were like, try stuff. You welcomed this collaboration in, and I feel like we found something because you were so totally open and you were so specific about the timing. And it was just a beautiful experience for everyone. So seriously, well done. Thank you.
And it adds to the frenetic energy that I think is in every scene, which is based on the writing, and I'm guessing that's how you wanted it. But can you talk about shaping the series for that, and knowing you wanted that energy to always be there, and also it's a family that yells at each other, which...
Yeah, I know, which is, again, like, if you come from a family that expresses love through yelling at one another, you understand what's going on in this show. And it's been really interesting to see, because to me this was a love story about yelly families. It's a celebration of yelly families. It is an exposing of yelly families for families that don't yell. I've had a lot of people come up to me and be like, wow. And I was like, my guy, if you've only seen how my family talks to each other, you'd realize that this is very common for a lot of people. And I love that. I love writing specific family dynamics. And if you understand it, great. I think this is probably one of the few times you're gonna get to see your yelly family on screen. And if you don't understand it, this is a story about drawing an audience who doesn't quite understand it in to understand how and why this family has chosen or inherited this form of communication. I think it is very specific in what it speaks to. And I want this show to be an exploration of all that we inherit from our families, the good and the bad, the things we embrace and the things we push back against. And the fact that the pilot opens on Nona screaming in a hospital bed, and then you understand Lori, and then you understand her kids. It is the family tree of what we inherit, good, bad, and ugly. So yeah, it was a very sort of specific tone that I wanted. And then a family like that to have a domino fall on crime, and it just doesn't stop.
Well, there's a beautiful moment, if you guys haven't seen, later in the season where Linda gets herself in a situation and all the kids show up for her. If you remember the scene I'm talking about. And I actually got very touched by that scene, just because it's like, okay, everybody's got all this crazy stuff going on, but yet they hear mom's in trouble, everybody's there. So I love that heart is also there. It's not just yelling, there's love throughout the show.
It's moments. it's moments when the light shines through, and that's, I mean, I've had this conversation a lot with people about comparing and contrasting the Schitt's Creek of it all, and people were saying, well, Schitt's was such a warm show, and I was like, rewatch the first 2 seasons. This is a family that says I love you to each other for the very first time in the season finale of season 2. And part of why people recall Schitt's Creek with such fondness and warmth is the very deliberate nature that we were breadcrumbing moments of tenderness, so that the more you learn about these people, the more you care. I'm not going to just give it all away right off the bat. And I feel like now that we're in the middle of writing season 2, you continue to peel back the layers in much the same way.
It's great. The sibling relationships I love. I come from a big family, so I saw so much of my family in the 3 of you. Can you talk about building that together? Because also, each of you have a different relationship with each other. It's not just 3 siblings. It's like your relationship's different with Morgan and so on. Abby, I'm going to start with you first. So can you talk about just the sibling relationships that you got to work against?
I mean, I think maybe it was easiest for me because I think I am so alienated from the 2 of them, and I at least am pretending that I want nothing to do with them at the beginning of the show, but I think deep down she just wants to be accepted and called, recognized for her smarts, especially from her mom. But I think she wants her siblings to respect her, but she doesn't know how to communicate that, so she just acts like she hates them, and that's all she knows how to do. But yeah, I think it was fun. We have a moment of like hugging at the end of the show, and it was so uncomfortable. And I think it's maybe
Abby gives me the most uncomfortable hug I've ever had in my life at the end of this season.
Right,
And it's fantastic.
And I think deep down she wants to share that and to be loved and to love her siblings, but she just doesn't know how, and she's far away.
Taylor, can I come to you next? Talk about working that relationship with Abby, but then also with Dan, because they are very different.
Yeah, well, I feel that this is so unexpected, but our characters ended up, because we ended up spending so much time together and being forced into these spaces, it did sort of alienate Natalie. And Natalie's way of being close to her family is by being useful, which is very different than Morgan. Morgan sort of is not interested in that at all. I think no one expects her to be, and then that sort of upsets her in the same way you're talking about, that maybe I would like to be seen as useful or competent. And all I have to know is that I am, and no one else has to recognize it. So then that puts us further and further away, and us being forced into the same place. I think really quickly we realize, like, oh, actually we have so much in common. And I think probably, and I don't know, that exists within Natalie too, but she hasn't had the opportunity to be that way yet. She's been, she hasn't been forced into our space. She hasn't had to spend that amount of time with us. She's had to be kind of like a second little mom. So yeah, I think it's in there though.
And Dan, how about you working with both of them for that
I
relationship?
mean, it was amazing, but that's also a testament to like chemistry and casting. Like, we sort of had it instantly in the test, and then Abby has a monologue at the end of this season that I wrote for the audition process that ended up making its way into the show, where you learn why Natalie is the way she is. And Abby crushed this monologue so hard in this audition that I was like running around showing it to people, being like, this woman is incredible and bizarre, and this character is so much weirder than I thought she ever could be. And that's what you want from the casting process. You want to find people that make your characters more interesting than you could have ever imagined. And that's what both of these people did as family members. And I thought, well, weird and crazy and, like dysfunctional, and yet you root for these people, and it just keeps getting warmer the more we tell the story. But yeah, I mean, it was all of us, I think, even as actors, I like to leave room in scenes for improv. I like to make sure that we did a lot of rehearsing before, not a lot, but we did a full day of rehearsing before we started shooting, just to get that what? Oh. Am I hearing voices, guys? It's a long day. Anyway, part of it was just allowing the freedom for people to personalize their characters in ways that might live slightly off the script. And I feel like all of these characters managed to do that in very special little ways, where they took the script and lifted it to a place that I couldn't have written. So,
Taylor and Boran, the relationship between your characters starts out so volatile, but even in the back of my head, I remember watching maybe the second episode, I was kind of like, I wonder what would happen if, and then things kind of develop a little bit. But can you talk about why these characters are drawn to each other? We see it start kind of slowly, I think by episode 4 or 5, maybe you really see it kind of starting.
Sorry, Jack.
Not to put you in the middle.
It kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, I
We're
mean-
antagonistic from the beginning.
Yes, and I think there's a similarity between Nicky and Morgan's character and Yusuf's character, that they both find themselves in a situation that they don't belong to, but they are trying to find their powers in it. And I think that's the connection between it. And I believe that Morgan is one of the first persons after a long time for Yusuf who sees actually who he is. And it makes him feel better about himself, I think.
I also think some of a lot of that is in the script, and then kind of throughout our performances, I think became more fun when our real life dynamic of the three of us would enter it, because I don't think it was always, you said something one time where you were like, you just pick whoever's side is being funnier. And I was like, I do, I kind of choose Dan or Boran based on whoever is making me laugh the hardest in the moment, and then that's who I align with. And then that would kind of play in, like, we would both become sort of antagonistic to Boran, and then that would make Boran play it bitchier, sort of. And then it would be kind of like bigger than I think we planned it to be, and it kind of like, and then that put more tension between the two of us. So
there's a scene in episode 3 where Boran's character starts mocking us in a truck, and we couldn't get through it, and he was being so serious, and I'm not even sure, Boran, whether you were aware of how funny you were being or not, but
What I
it
was
was
aware that if
hysterical.
I would look at you guys, I would also keep laughing. That's why I'm sorry for my English, I was biting inside of my lips to not laugh at that scene, to stay serious.
We had a good time.
Jack, let me ask, because your character's not as frenetic as everybody else, because you're not as involved with that. Was that hard not to get pulled into that, just when you're acting in scenes with everything going on, but your character doesn't really know what's going on?
Yes and no, because you kind of just don't have to do much by definition in a weird way. I think it was fun playing. I think he's so oblivious, and that's kind of what he is, and like what his device is to the story in many ways, is that he's like this anchor to Morgan in two different ways, where he's kind of like holding her back, but also like holding her down, like grounding her. So I think the obliviousness was kind of fun in a way, because I could just ignore everyone else's narratives and just be who I am, pretty much be in my own world. So as an acting job, awesome. I think it's fun. It's fun to play that in Max. It's fun to play like someone who's like trying to find out where that motivation is, like why he's so oblivious, if he cares so much, and like how that manifests and motivates him. Because I think that he's later, like throughout the season, he's oblivious, but he's picking up on, well, he calls it like an emotional chasm. Like there's like these. Like there's something deep in, like I don't think in the front of his brain he knows what's going on, but like deep in his like brainstem, way back in somewhere in the folds, he can like spider sense that stuff is going wrong. So I think his girlfriend maybe doesn't like him so much anymore. So
Dan, can you talk about casting Elizabeth Perkins, because you already had Laurie Metcalf, and then she's just talk about these two very powerful mothers, but not. Wanted them to be distinct as well as characters.
Yeah, I mean, I had known Elizabeth kind of socially. We ran into each other at a concert, and I've been a fan of hers for forever. And I think she's somebody who is like such an extraordinary actor, and also somebody who can be wickedly funny. And she can play a kind of like elegance in a way that lent itself to this character. Ultimately, the character of Annette, who, for those of you that haven't watched the season, see episode 3, you learn about you. Someone help me. She appears on screen. Hearing voices. I don't know what it is. But Laurie's character is such a mess, and Annette is this polished sort of anti-person to her. And to me, it was a no-brainer that Elizabeth could come in and play head-to-head with Laurie in a way that is so opposite to how Laurie presents as Linda. And she did, and she was equal parts funny and loving, and then very bone-chilling.
Yeah, she is. Keep watching if you're not to the end yet. It's great. I want to ask everybody about a favorite scene, because we have a few more minutes to go. Nora, I want to ask you first. Was there a favorite scene, music-wise, that you had so much fun?
Okay,
putting together?
Dan and I just had a chat on Tuesday, and I called out that scene when Laurie is making love, or maybe being made love to, by, what's his name? I keep forgetting that. Andre, who's just gotten out of prison. And if you turn up the volume really loud, Andre is just wailing in Russian, just singing top of his lungs, and it's hysterical. Love that scene. Love that ending. I love that scene. I also really love the music at the end of 108. I think that is crazy when everyone's realizing everything. I'm trying not to be like, we're trying not to give spoilers.
Listen, people in this audience who haven't watched the show are like, what is this show? You got a lot ahead of you. But yes.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way the music works in 108 at the end, because I think once we get into the closet with Elizabeth Perkins, and shit gets real, right? And there's some big realizations going on. Musically, that was such an amazing challenge to have like 2 scores going on at once that have to align and then come together, and that was totally satisfying. So I obviously am biased. I love the music in this show, but I love this show. But those are 2 of my favorite spots.
Okay. Abby, how about you?
The one that always comes to mind is Linda's debate. And I was sitting front row and just completely distracted and forgetting what I'm supposed to do. I was like laughing so hard. I could hear Dan from rooms away cackling, and she just kept making these noises. And then my favorite line in the whole show is she says, "Thanks for the question, Jane." And then my sister and I just say it to each other every day. I think that has to be my favorite scene. And then now that I've watched the show, there's so many scenes that I'm not a part of, and I think the entire Miami experience is one of my favorite. Yeah. Everything that occurs at the table. Some of my favorite moments.
When Laurie goes, Jurgens.
Yes, everything Laurie says. Everything Laurie says.
Boran?
I have 2 moments in my
Okay.
brain that's still living.
Yeah.
It's that first that Laurie finds out, it's a scene with you, that she finds out that maybe she's going to be the only one running for the mayor, that she finds out about the prostitutes. The face that she's doing, that moment, and when Taylor and Dan having a scene after I left there in front of their house, that you realize that you didn't get a gun. That she didn't get a gun. That what you're doing there is like living in my brain still.
Love it. Jack, how about you?
Yeah, I forgot that when Dan's just like trying. I was verbally.
I was.
Jurgens is great. I rewatched the finale last night, and there's actually 2 Abby
You
scenes.
just watched it?
No, rewatch. There's the one where I don't want to spoil anything, but that Linda gets a phone call and there's news, and you see Abby like she's so like bummed up, and she does a full petulant like pounds.
Yeah.
And that made me laugh out loud last night.
I was so scared. I remember right before we did that, you kind of just said, "Let it all out," and I was like, "Oh no, okay."
Full tantrum.
And then
You do a little dance too that I like in one of the later episodes.
my ex-boyfriend's mom has texted me about that.
Taylor, your turn.
It's hard because I'm remembering the scenes from filming them. And so I love the proposal scene that made us laugh really hard. I love that there's an episode where Lori is wearing full possum face paint, and there is such a difference between Elizabeth and Lori, you know, and Elizabeth is like so buttoned up.
Carrying a Birkin.
So polished, carrying a Birkin, and she goes, "You've worked too hard for this," and Lori's got like running face paint, is like, "Oh." And I love that. And I really also love the scene between the two of you, kind of when she's talking to you about her life and the sacrifices that she's made. I think that's really sweet. And I love our Miami scene that we shot together, rambling at each other. That was my favorite, I think.
Do you have one, Dan?
Yeah, like I doing lines and lines of cocaine was really fun. I have never done cocaine before, and so in order to, actors doing bad drugs, like looking like you don't know, looking like somebody who's never done drugs before.
Right.
Is my worst nightmare as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we were shooting these scenes, it's like icing, not icing sugar. It was I think
I
icing
don't know
sugar.
what it was, to be honest.
And I was talking to the camera department, and I'm like, I need you to get me doing the entire line, camera up. I want the audience to know that I actually downed this thing. I don't want to cut away. I don't want it to look like I cheated. I want you to do it, and we will film it over and over and over again until you get it right.
Yeah.
And so I kindly asked our crew, can I say this? We're in Netflix headquarters. Anyway, it's fine. Everyone's having a great time. Anyway, so I said to our crew, I'm like, listen, if anyone has dabbled in drugs, I'm not going to say your name. You don't have to out yourself to me. This is free space. But if you want to wander over to the monitors and see if I'm doing this properly and casually pull me aside and offer some constructive criticism, that would be welcome. This is a welcome space for you. I celebrate what you do on weekends. I love the fact that you have a fun life. But I need it as an actor. So
Storyteller.
So we're shooting the scene, and like a couple people came up and they were like, give it a bit of time, like after, like once it hits you, and then like, they're like, you're gonna be feeling X, Y, and Z, like just let that, I think like you're glassy-eyed at this point. I'm like, glassy-eyed, good at five, okay, thanks. We had an unbelievably generous crew, so for their generosity, I love doing those Don't do drugs, everybody is bad.
So the show is picked up for a second season.
Hell yeah!
What can you say about season 2? Because season 1 ends at a really great place.
We're halfway through season 2.
Yeah.
I know what half the season looks like, and I know how it ends. I know how the show ends, anyway. You have to kind of know how your series is going to end in order to write it, I believe.
Especially something like this, I think.
It is bigger, bolder, sexier. It's really sexy this season, everybody. It's really sexy. I'm thrilled. I knew exactly what I wanted. We have an unbelievable room of writers who are so dedicated and so in love with the show. It is my duty as a writer and an actor to service this unbelievable cast with dialogue and storylines that continue to push them further, continue to challenge them as actors, continue to pedestalize them as unbelievable talents worth paying attention to. So that's the goal, is to keep raising the bar and to keep telling the story and to keep letting more and more warmth and love into this show as it's earned.
I feel like I'm not alone in saying I can't wait. You guys, Big Mistakes is on Netflix right now. Watch it again and again.
Thank you so much for coming out.